from last year's class. Let's talk about this year's class. Now, Trey Lance is obviously the biggest headliner, right?
Right.
But outside of Trey, they did make some pretty interesting picks to me. Do you think there's going to be a more like a very impactful rookie just beyond Trey Lance? Because I think, obviously he would be one of the first names you think about for this type of discussion.
Yeah, absolutely. I do. And it's Aaron Banks. And it goes back and this is interesting because I've yet to
Hey, Kinlaw's pick 6 was a thing of beauty.
Yes, it was. Big man touchdowns are my favorite. When you watch the big man roll into the end zone, it's fantastic. Yeah, probably. That's a hard one to repeat. Big men don't get many chances. That's why when they drop it, they're so devastated because they know it's not happening. That's my pick is Banks.
This is my pick too, Rob. I'll let you talk, but man, I think Aaron Banks is going to be such a huge impact for the pass especially.
100%. So I actually made a wager with Grant that I've yet to collect on because he made a lot of wagers and I didn't want to throw it out there. But I said that the 49ers would draft a offensive lineman. I was confident that they were going offensive lineman early. I was almost certain they would take it in the second round. So when they did, I felt good about that. But I said something. It was either offensive lineman versus wide receiver or cornerback. And he took the cornerback or wide receiver. And then it was O-lineman. It was Banks. And for me, that is absolutely going to be the most impactful rookie. First and foremost, he will be 20% of your starting offensive line. And the importance of the offensive line, in particular, a quick-footed mauler like Aaron Banks on a run-first team like Kyle Shanahan's offense, where he will be able to get him out in space and he can demolish smaller players. I think that it will set a physical tone. I think that it will help solidify Mike McGlinchey. This goes back to why I had Mike McGlinchey as my 1B, and you called that out specifically. Aaron Banks is going to he'll be that foundation, that anchor next to Mike McGlinchey. It's tough to have.
He'll be Mike's buddy, right?
Yes.
He'll be his guy. I mean, they were friends back in college. I think there's all the stories about it. But the main thing with offensive lines is consistency, right?
Yes.
That's something that this team just hasn't had, but yet you look at the ratings that they have in the advanced metrics. You look at where PFF ranks them this year. They're considered a top tier sort of offensive line, maybe not the best of the best. But when you look at offensive lines across the league, the play is diminished in general. So when you add this potential continuity to a guy like Mike McGlinchey with Aaron Banks, he's going to be great. And Gavin, you're absolutely right. He's going to be like his Padawan, right? He's going to be like his guy, his buddy right next to him. So he can learn everything from him, but also, or he can teach him things and they can learn from each other, but they can lean on each other too when they need to and be successful because of it. And the main thing to me, especially with Aaron Banks, is he's going to help so much with the passing protection. That's something that this offense has struggled so much with, especially last season. Because I think if you look at the PFF rankings, they rank something like second in run blocking grade, right? But then if you look at pass blocking grade, it's 29th in the league. So on the one hand, the team is very good at what Kyle does well, but then they have the weakness where the offense is the weakest. So when you do all these things to address the pass game, like Trey Lance, right? And now adding Aaron Banks, it's going to make life so much easier for Trey, specifically when you add a guy like Aaron Banks, who, like I said, continuity. That's the biggest thing moving forward. This is a guy who kind of has to be on your team for 4 years, no matter what, with the amount of capital you spend on him, unless he's a complete whiff, which we don't think he is.